Stage 1 and Stage 2 tanks are pressed.
High flow engine purge is enabled. Deluge activated.
T-minus 20 seconds. Ten, 9, 8, 7, 6, 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Confirm liftoff.
Stage 1 propulsion is nominal.
Entered stage 1 burnout detect mode.
We are at T plus 46 seconds, and there goes another Electron on its way to space for this 22nd launch from the pad from Rocket Lab Launch Complex 1. Soon the rocket will experience its peak amount of stress as it travels incredibly quickly over a large distance. This moment is called maximum aerodynamic pressure, or what's known as max Q, and is one of the first gates Electron needs to clear to make it to orbit.
And past max Q.
And we have passed max Q, and Electron is continuing the journey to space. Propulsion looks nominal on Electron's first stage as the rocket approaches the next major milestones of launch. In a few moments, Electron's 9 Rutherford engines will throttle down and then shut off completely to slow the rocket down. This milestone is called main engine cutoff, or MECO, and it occurs just before Electron's first and second stages separate. Once that's happened, very quickly, Electron's 10th engine on the second stage will light up to maintain its trajectory and continue carrying the 2 satellites to orbit. After these launch events are cleared, it's then that our rocket recovery operations begin, with the boosters' descent back to Earth. But first, let's wait to hear the call out from Mission Control that those events have occurred successfully.
15 seconds to MECO.
MECO confirmed.
Stage separation successful.
Stage to ignition.
There you have it. Electron has had a successful MECO, stage separation, and second stage engine start. Stage 1 recovery operations will now proceed with the vehicle's successful stage separation. We are moments away now from Electron's fairing ejection. Let's keep an eye on our screens for that.
Fairing separation confirmed.
Electron's fairing has successfully separated as we get ready to deploy the 2 BlackSky satellites to their low Earth orbit within the hour. In about 1 minute or so, Electron's first stage will reach Apogee. Now when the first and second stages separated, Electron's booster is still traveling at such a speed that it continues moving upward before gravity begins to take over. So once Electron's first stage reaches Apogee, or its highest point, the only place for it to go next is back down. We should hear that call soon from Mission Control. Okay, we are just past T plus 4 minutes into flight, and Electron Stage 2 is travelling nominally at a speed of over 8,000 kilometres an hour and an altitude of over 167 kilometres. In less than a minute, Electron's first stage should reach Apogee with orientation of the stage underway as planned.
Stage 2 propulsion is nominal.
Stage 1 Apogee.
And with Apogee confirmed, Electron's first stage is officially on its earthward trajectory. The next milestone in our recovery operations will be the deployment of the first chute on Electron's booster. We'll stick with the camera views on the rocket for as long as we can, but a reminder, we do expect them to cut out at some point on that return. Meanwhile, Electron's second stage engine is burning bright and beautiful on the way to orbit. The vehicle is currently at speeds of more than 10,000 kilometers per hour and an altitude of more than 200 kilometers. We have got some good telemetry coming in for how Electron is travelling to low Earth orbit. If you are just joining us, our 20-second mission is going well so far, with the second stage travelling at more than 11,000 kilometers per hour, more than 214 kilometers above Earth. Electron's booster is now on the correct angle of attack to re-enter the atmosphere from space, where it separated with the second stage as per normal launch procedure a few moments ago. All systems are continuing to perform well across both stages of the vehicle. Our next launch event will be the battery Hotswap set to take place on Electron's second stage. Because our Rutherford engines maintain their power source from batteries, at a certain point those batteries run out of charge. So we need a fresh new one to keep the engine running. And what we do is we swap the power from the depleted batteries to a third fully charged one, all while keeping the second stage moving at more than 13,000 kilometers an hour. We'll hear that moment called out through mission control shortly, before we expect to hear the next recovery operation milestone, that deployment of the drogue parachute. Let's listen in.
Hotswap successful.
Battery jettison confirmed.
And stage 2 propulsion is holding nominal.
And there we go, that we had the good news of battery Hotswap there on Electron's second stage. Next up in recovery operations will be the main parachute release. We should be hearing that call shortly.
AFDS has safed. HVB discharge holding nominal. Stage 1 main chute deploy.
The parachute on Electron's booster has successfully deployed, and so our recovery helicopter is in the air on its way to get a glimpse of the booster coming back to Earth. All going well, the first stage should now glide gently toward the ocean, remaining in the air for another 10 minutes or so from the parachute's release. We'll bring you visuals from the helicopter if we can. Right now though, high above stage 1 recovery, Electron's primary mission is continuing nominally, with the second stage powering its way to low Earth orbit. In under 2 minutes, this stage will be approaching its next event, second engine cutoff, or SECO, and then separation from its orbital transfer vehicle, the Kickstage, which will carry the 2 BlackSky satellites to their destination. We won't have an immediate engine burn on the Kickstage following that separation, as it goes into a coast phase while it's in an elliptical orbit before its Curie engine ignites and jolts it into a circular path for payload deployment. We'll wait to hear that SAGE separation call come from Mission Control shortly.
Guidance is in terminal, 25 seconds remaining.
And SECO confirmed.
Stage 3 separation confirmed. Nominal transfer orbit received.
There you go, another smooth achievement of our latest mission milestone. The Rutherford engine on Electron's second stage has shut down as planned, and the Kickstage has now separated on its way to payload deployment in about 45 minutes or so. Meanwhile, we are getting some views from the helicopter of Electron coming back to Earth. Hopefully we'll see that soon under a parachute. Our helicopter's role here is to maintain a visual connection for as long as it can to record data of the first stage that will help refine our operations for future Electron aerial capture attempts. Electron has around 8 minutes left in the air before it reaches the ocean. We are going to take a break now though while the Kickstage enjoys its coast phase around the Earth. Unfortunately, we won't have a live video feed of payload deployment on this mission, but we will stay with you on this webcast to bring you a simulated view of that occurring. That's expected to take place at around T plus 55 minutes into the mission. And of course, any updates we have on the final moments of our recovery operations, we'll bring them to you here live while we wait the end of the mission. But we will leave you with views from the helicopter if we can keep them up from the splashdown zone as long as we can. And I'll see you back here soon. Welcome back to the webcast of Rocket Lab's 22nd Electron mission, Love at First Insight. While the second stage continued on its journey to orbit, we received confirmation of the first stage splashdown. Meanwhile, the Kickstage has completed its first pass of Earth in an elliptical orbit, and we're now waiting for its Curie engine to ignite and position it into a circular orbit, where we will drop off the 2 BlackSky satellites. For this mission, we've introduced a new deployment process with an adapted Kickstage that will see 3 separation events take place. We've mounted a structure to the Kickstage called a Tophat, which acts as an extension of the upper stage to allow the 2 BlackSky satellites to fit within Electron's varying dimensions. The first BlackSky satellite that sits on top of the Tophat will deploy first, before the Tophat itself is ejected, followed by the third and final separation event, the deployment of the second BlackSky satellite. Those should happen in quick succession after the upper stage's Curie engine burn. Let's bring up this animated view of that payload deployment and listen into Mission Control for the callouts.
Global 14 has deployed successfully.
We have heard confirmation from Mission Control that the first BlackSky satellite has been deployed from the upper stage. That satellite will drift away for a few moments before we eject the Tophat adapter, ready to deploy our second satellite.
And the adapter has deployed successfully. Stand by for the final payload.
There we go, the Tophat has been ejected, clearing the way for the final deployment on this mission of the second BlackSky payload. That should take place in around 30 seconds or so let's wait for the call from our operators.
And Global 15 deployment confirmed.
There's some great news there that the second BlackSky satellite has successfully deployed by Electron on this Love at First Insight mission. So with both satellites successfully deployed, that completes tonight's 22nd Electron mission and officially brings the count of satellites deployed by Rocket Lab to 107. We're going to end the broadcast here, but keep an eye on Rocket Lab's Facebook, Twitter and Instagram pages for updates on how we fared with Electron's recovery and of course all things Rocket Lab. Thank you for joining us. This is Rocket Lab Mission Control signing off.